Palantir released their fourth quarter earnings today and definitely exceeded all expectations. They reported massive revenue growth and record profits. As you can see here, after hours, the stock did jump up 22% to $102 per share. The stock did continue to climb, reaching a high of $104 before selling off to right around $100 at the time of recording this video. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. If you do enjoy this content, please like and subscribe as it really helps out this channel. Let's get right into these earnings and see why this stock is up so much today. As we dive into their earnings, I want to start out by going through Palantir's income statement for this quarter. Overall, I would give it a B grade. There's a lot that I really did like to see. There's a lot of great numbers here. However, we do have a bit of concern with their operating expenses, which I will get to in a minute. So starting out, revenue for the quarter jumped all the way up to $827 million versus $608 million in Q4 of 2023. That is amazing growth, and that is why the stock is trading so much higher today. Cost of this revenue came in at $174 million versus $108 million in Q4 of 2023. That's a pretty normal jump considering how much the revenue has grown. And then gross profit for the quarter came in at $652 million versus $499 million year over year. All of these are great numbers. If we were to stop here, this would be an A income statement. However, like I mentioned before, as we get into these operating expenses, that's when there's a bit of concern with a few of these numbers. For example, sales and marketing for the quarter came in at $288 million versus $197 million year over year. That's a massive increase. R&D came in at $171 million versus $109 million in Q4 of 2023. And then G&A came in at $182 million versus $127 million year over year. That brings our total operating expenses for the quarter up to $641 million versus $433 million in Q4 of 2023. That is a massive increase. At first glance, I was very confused by these numbers, but as we get into it, there is an explanation that does make sense, and it's something that we as Palantir shareholders have been dealing with for quite some time. So, income from operations dropped all the way down to $11 million versus $65 million in Q4 2023. That's a huge drop, and it was very concerning. So, why are these numbers coming in so high? It all is tied back to their stock-based compensation that was offered during this quarter. If you jump over to this other chart on the right, you'll see that cost of revenue for the quarter was $33 million versus $11 million. Sales and marketing, $97 million versus $43 million. R&D stock-based compensation, $77 million versus $32 million. And then G&A came in at $73 million versus $43 million. So total stock-based compensation in the quarter more than doubled all the way up to $281 million, up from $132 million in Q4 of 2023. So that is where a lot of their expenses are coming from. And it is something that as Palantir shareholders, we have been dealing with for a long time. Back in 2022, 2023, when the stock was trading super cheap, that was the biggest criticism that Palantir was getting, that they are always diluting shareholders with how much stock-based compensation they are offering. So it's something that we deal with. It's something we have to keep an eye on, and hopefully it's something that we don't have to deal with to this extent moving forward. But knowing Palantir, it's probably going to be around for quite some time. So back over into the income statement, interest income did jump up to $54 million. Versus $44 million in Q4 2023, which is great. It's great to see that Palantir is making money from the cash they do have on hand. Other income jumped up to $14.7 million, up from negative $4 million in Q4 2023. So also great numbers. Back to a couple of negatives. Income from income taxes, income before income taxes came in at $80 million versus $106 million. So that dropped about $26 million this quarter. And then net income is also coming in about $20 million less at $76 million versus $96 million. So overall, it was a pretty decent income statement from Palantir this quarter. It's a great one if we do subtract out that stock-based compensation that they offered for this quarter. As we get into Palantir's balance sheet for the quarter, it's another stellar one from Palantir. As we know as Palantir shareholders, their balance sheet has been a strong point for them as a company in the past and will continue to be one moving forward. Cash and cash equivalents for the year came in at $2.9 $2.09 billion, up from $831 million in 2023. Marketable securities came in at $3.1 billion versus $2.8 billion, bringing total assets for Palantir up to $6.3 billion from $4.5 billion in Q4 2023. So another stellar balance sheet for Palantir. I love to see how much cash they have on hand. Palantir will be able to get through any issues or storms that may arise for them as a company. Moving on to GAAP net income and GAAP operating income. These two figures may be the most important ones that I will show you in this video. Starting out with net income, as you can see here for Q4 2024, if we exclude that stock-based compensation that they offered, we would be at $164 million of net income, up from $93 million year over year. That really shows that the true profitability for Palantir is exploding upwards, which is great to see. I just hope that they can get that stock-based compensation under control. Same thing with operating income. If we exclude that one-time stock-based compensation that they offered this quarter, instead of that $11 million of operating income, we would be at $142 million, which is over 2x what they were at in Q4 of 2023. So these are great figures. We just need to get that stock-based compensation under control, and hopefully next quarter we will not have to deal with this as much. Total revenue growth for Palantir grew 36% year over year this quarter. This is a figure that I was watching closely, as in Q3 2023, Palantir posted year over year revenue growth of 30%. Their guidance was coming in less than 30% for total revenue growth, which was a bit concerning, as I know many shareholders are looking for that 30% growth minimum. They came in and absolutely smashed it, growing all the way up to $828 million versus $608 million in Q4 of 2023. This represents also 14% quarter over quarter growth, driven by continued acceleration of their US business and commercial business. All of this is great to see and is good news moving forward for Palantir. Palantir's Q4 adjusted operating income was $373 million, representing a margin of 45%. I love to see Palantir breaking out of that 30% margin. You know, they've been stuck in that 30, 35, 36, 38% margin. So it's really nice to see them explode out of the 30s into the 40s, and not even just the low 40s. They're in the mid 40s now at 45%. So something I love to see, and hopefully they can continue to improve their margins moving forward. US commercial customer count grew very nicely this quarter, up 73% year over year and up 19% quarter over quarter. If you watched the video that I posted the other day on Palantir, you'll know that 9% growth from Q2 to Q3 was a number that I was watching closely. I was hoping to see improvement, and they definitely exceeded my expectations, over doubling their percentage growth for Q3 to Q4. So something that I love to see. Commercial customer count grew nicely, up 52% year over year, up to 571 commercial customers. That's a 15% increase from Q3 2024. It's something that I was also keeping an eye on, as well as the total customer count, which is now at 711, up 13% from Q3 to Q4. That 6% figure from Q2 to Q3 was something that I was watching closely, and I was really hoping to see an explosion this quarter, and Palantir definitely came through there. Next up, we have the rule of 40, which Palantir likes to brag about. For those of you that don't know what the rule of 40 is, this is a metric that is commonly used to evaluate SaaS or software-based companies. A score of 40% or higher is considered financially healthy, as it balances growth and profitability effectively. A company that scores below 40 may indicate that it is growing too slowly or not efficiently converting revenue into profits. Looking at Palantir, they have not been below that 40% mark since Q2 of 2023, and then have since exploded all the way up to 81% this quarter. Palantir's revenue growth came in at 36%, and Palantir's profit margin came in at 45%, getting you to that 81% mark. Next up, I wanted to go through the deals that Palantir closed this quarter versus last. As you can see, they closed 129 deals of at least $1 million versus 104 last quarter. They closed 58 of at least $5 million versus 36 last quarter. And then the big one, they closed 32 deals of over $10 million versus 16 last quarter, which is a 2x and is great to see and is a good sign moving forward. So with all this being said, what is my plan for my Palantir position moving forward? Currently, I have 105 shares with a cost basis of $10.66 and a total return of over 860%. Yes, I know my position is not the largest, and that is mainly due to the fact that when I first started investing in Palantir, it was right after I had graduated from college, and I just didn't have as much cash on hand as I would have liked to deploy into Palantir. What is my plan though for my position? I am going to be holding the shares that I do have. I'm not looking to add right here, and I'm not looking to sell either. This is mostly due to Palantir's valuation. With the most recent increase in stock price, the market cap for Palantir is right around $230 billion. They have a price to sales ratio of 70, a forward price to sales ratio of 50 plus, and a forward PE of 183. I just believe that there is too much growth already priced into Palantir at these levels, and for that reason, I just plan on holding. This could change in the future though. If the stock price does have any meaningful increase from here, let's say into the 120s, maybe 130s, I may look at trimming my position slightly. If it does drop though back into the, let's say 60s or 70s, let's say something crazy happened, I would probably look at adding some at those levels as well. Thank you guys all for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you got some meaningful information about Palantir's earnings. If you did enjoy this content, please like and subscribe on this video. That's all I ask. It really helps out the channel. Keep an eye out later this week. There's still a lot of exciting earnings being released that I plan on covering. AMD reports on Tuesday afternoon and Amazon reports on Thursday. So keep an eye out for those videos. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.